Welcome, this is Kathy Williams, and I'm so excited to be talking with you today about ways that you can stop taking on other people's stress. I'm coming to you from my home on Maui. You can see my manga tree behind me. And I've spent the last 20 years accumulating knowledge and tools from the wisdom practices from across the world. And I've had the good fortune of working with women, especially across the planet, usually sensitive women, unhook from other people's stress, other people's constant needs, because a lot of us, we care so much that everyone else's needs are on our mind and in our energy. And when that's cluttering the field, sometimes it's harder to see what's truly in alignment for us. So I've worked with individuals and groups all over the planet, working with the most powerful tools I know to create change. So I'm going to share a handful of those with you today. And these are plucked from the bag. You know, there are many others, but what I would like is that you take the ones that resonate with you and the ones that don't, just set them aside. And maybe one day one will call to you. Um, but take what resonates and then practice and make it a habit, because then it becomes something you can fall back on, especially in times of stress. Because a lot of the time, when we need a tool or some practice the most, is the time we're least likely to think of it because we're in that stress mind. So here's the first tool I'm going to share with you. And you can, if you're at work, you can do this in a bathroom. You can do any of these things in a bathroom, which is so wonderful because no one can ever argue with you saying, I have to go to the bathroom. They might think you have a problem if you go in there too much, but like sometimes we just need to take a break. Right. So the first thing that I'm going to do is show you a simple hand position that takes blood from your fight or flight, your limbic brain, which is the stress response brain, sort of the reptilian brain, back to the frontal cortex, or where you can actually think. So if all your brain is in stress, right, if the blood flow is more activated there in the brain, then you don't think of solutions. You're just like, okay. So this hand position, just placing your hand straight across the forehead like this. You can do the other one across the back of the head, similarly. Just taking several breaths in this position will help you calm the stress response. And the cool thing is, people who have had trauma, I've worked with this with someone who had just been hit by a car, like 3 minutes afterwards. We were doing this. People who have had, serious trauma that happened long ago, placing their hands here, having them recall the memory, often starts to change the charge around that memory. Okay, so it's a really useful exercise for simply bringing blood out of that fight or flight sympathetic response into the parasympathetic response, which would be helping you slow down, calm down, and come to a place where you can actually handle what's in front of you with more ease. All right. Simple, doesn't take long. And, often when you're recalling a memory, maybe a trauma, maybe someone said something to you that you thought was terrible, you can put your hands there and allow your body to change its response. Right. Our next technique we're going to do is something you do all day long unconsciously. The breath has such a power to calm the nervous system, to create parasympathetic, sympathetic balance. And it only takes 3 slow breaths to start to initiate that change. So what I like to do, and this is not required, but it's useful, is to place your dominant hand on your heart area. Okay? Then oftentimes the non-dominant hand, maybe it's doing something, or maybe you can place it on your solar plexus. And as you inhale, you just start to sip a little more air in through the nostrils. And as you exhale, let your exhale be equal to or longer than your inhale. Equal inhale and exhale has a slightly energizing effect. An exhale that's a little bit longer than the inhale has a slightly relaxing effect. So if you're in bed and you want to slow down the mind and go to sleep, exhaling slower would probably be the choice to make. So as you inhale now, think to yourself, I am receiving the support of the universe. Because you are on that energizing breath. You're receiving the breath. You're receiving the support of the universe. As you exhale, I am softening into that support. So you're saying this mentally. Inhaling, I am receiving the support of the universe. Exhaling, I am softening into that support. That brings us right here, right now. Acknowledging what is, which is that you are supported, even just by receiving your breath. And it brings us to now, right? When we're agitated, the mind gets ahead of us or goes to the past. But this brings us right back here and now. And the place of power is right here, right now. Right? The place that you can respond from, the place that you can speak from. And so these 2 exercises that we've just done help calm the mind and bring you to this present moment. They're super simple. They don't take extra props. They don't take a lot of preparation. They're just available no matter where you are. This particular one you can do without your hands, or you can use your hands as well. But the mantra is sort of useful because it reminds us, oh yeah, even when I don't feel supported in the ways that I would like to, I'm still receiving the support of the universe. And so let me tap into that. Let me acknowledge that. Now what I'd like to do is a Hawaiian exercise that helps us sort of stay in our own energy instead of taking on other people's stuff. Because a lot of times when we care for people, we want them to feel better, we consciously or unconsciously take on their stress. Now, this isn't a bad thing. I'm not going to say it's a bad thing. It just is, right? You care, so you take it on. But that's kind of like if you're going camping with someone and they choose an extra large backpack and pack it full of all these things, even things they don't need. And then you say, hey, let me carry that for you. And so now you've got your own stuff and you've got their stuff and your load is made so much harder. So taking on other people's stuff is not your job, because when you're in whatever they're in, you actually can't see other perspectives. So this is the Hawaiian way of dealing with that. And on my website, I have some other Hawaiian tools that take you a little bit deeper. But this one is really useful to practice and even to start your day with. So what you're going to do is uncross your legs if they're crossed, which mine are, so that you can really feel your feet on the ground. And if you're lying down, that's fine. And What I'd like you to do is imagine from the soles of your feet and from your tailbone, long lines of energy down into the earth like roots. And they go down, 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 deep to the heart of the earth. And really connect there. The planet is always nurturing us. It's always contributing to us, and really connect to that. And now up these grounding cords, feel earth energy rising up around them, all the way up into your feet and hips. And draw earth energy. Maybe this feels a little bit warm, like lava to you. And whatever color it is, draw it all the way up through your legs, into your hips, and fill your entire pelvis with earth energy. Now gather that energy up into your belly, filling your low belly and low back, up into the navel, and now fill your upper belly, rib cage and upper back. Allow this earth energy to come into your shoulders and then down your arms. Sense it coming all the way up your neck and into your head. Bathing all the sense organs in earth energy, in the brain. And allow any extra earth energy to come spilling out the top of your head. Now the Hawaiians believe that we're a balance of earth and cosmic energies. So connect in the best way you can to the center of the Milky Way galaxy. Up, up, up high. And now imagine like a shower of light, cosmic energy, coming down into your head, filling the head, mixing with the earth energy. So now it's its own special color, own special quality. Often the cosmic energy is a little cooler, maybe lighter in sensation, but it is whatever you feel, just right. Allowing the cosmic energy to come down into the throat, mixing with the earth energy, down into the chest. Now each of us has a slightly different blend of earth and cosmic energies. Some people are a little bit more grounded and earthy. Some are a little bit more light and airy. So mix the energies really well here in your chest and spread them out to the sides of the rib cage in every direction. Allow this mix to flow down your arms and down into the solar plexus, upper back, lower back, navel and low belly, and now all the way into the pelvis. You feel this balance of cosmic and earth energies in the pelvis and down into your thighs, your knees, your low legs, and your feet. And allow any extra cosmic energy to be discharged down into the ground. And get a sense of how you are right now. And being filled with these energies, really connecting to these energies, which are always available to you, keeps you from being filled with other people's energies by choice or sort of choicelessly. When they're hooking into you, this allows you to kind of allow whatever's pulling at you to sort of rebound off. So it's not a big deal. Our next practice we're going to do is one that makes you realize a little bit that it's not your energy, right? The energy that we're playing with, that we're breathing, that we're living is always changing. I mean, scientifically, we know that to be true. We may have certain patterns, but we're always replacing cells all day long. Cells die, new cells are birthed, and the air I breathe in is the air someone else exhaled in front of me down the street, or whatever. So we're always receiving new, fresh energy and releasing. Now, when we are dealing with people who seem to suck our energy, okay, it's only because we're in resistance that they actually can suck it. Well, what does that even mean? That means if, let's say, a client or a patient is a huge energy drain on me, it's only because I've decided that they can drain me. If I don't have that point of view, and I'll share a story with you, if I no longer have that point of view, they can't actually drain me. All right. So I worked with a physician several years ago, and he was talking about how at the end of the day, he felt drained every single time, and that this changed his life. All right. So what you do with energy suckers, whether it's your mother, whether it's your child, whether it's your patient or client, what you do is you imagine that from behind you, okay, back here, through you and through them, you're just hosing them energy. Okay, it's not from you. You aren't the start or the source of it. It's actually universal. So it's from behind you, through you, and through them. So right now, let's practice. Think of someone who seems to drain or suck your energy. Okay? And now from behind you, through you, fire hose energy to them and through them. Okay, so it doesn't stop with them. Otherwise, they'll get knocked down. You're fire hosing energy through them. And get a sense of what that's like. Now, the interesting and kind of cool thing is you can do this from anywhere in the world. So if you're on the phone with someone who's draining you, fire hose them energy. I can feel it. Right? And usually once you've started to fire hose them energy, and keep it going for a minute or two, they usually stop sucking. Why? Because they're filled up. Why? Because they no longer feel a lack. There are lots of different energy exercises we can do. Like when you're feeling a lack or drained and you feel like you need someone else's energy, you can pull energy up through your feet or do the Hawaiian exercise that we just did a moment ago. So this is kind of like some foundational practices that really can make a huge difference in your life if you're willing to practice them. That don't take much time, don't take much energy. And the last one I'd like to share with you is really about changing your perspective. Right? Because when someone else is stressed, often what we do is we either see their vantage point and we make it right, or we don't like their vantage point, so we make it wrong in a way. We may not do this, we may not say that we're making it wrong, we may not even recognize we're making it wrong. But when we're in resistance, right, we get tension in our bodies, we're often making it wrong in a way. Okay? So we're aligning and agreeing on the positive side or resisting and reacting on the negative side, both of which create polarity and often result in us taking on stress. So how do we prevent this? We're aligning and agreeing, resisting and reacting all day long. The thing is, life is supposed to have a little bit more flow to it than most of us allow. It's like row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. There's a lightness that we have when we're children that is absent in most adults. And it doesn't have to be. It's just our habit and our conditioning. So when we align and agree or resist and react, it's like we're rowing our boat down the stream, but we go to one bank, the bank of allowing, aligning and agreeing, and collect rocks. And then we row our boat and it's a little harder. And then we go to the other side of the river, the bank, and we collect some rocks of resistance and reaction and wrongness. Okay? So when we are aligning and agreeing or resisting and reacting, both kind of weigh our boat or our life down. So what do we do about it? Right? We're doing this all day long. You can see it very easily in political parties, right? Their way is the wrong way. This is the right way, right? Very fixed. So you begin to recognize that every point of view, every opinion, every criticism, every judgment, every thought is simply a point of view that's taken at a moment in time, subject to change. Right? What you thought was beautiful, maybe like what you thought was great style in the 80s or the 90s, you probably don't think is great style anymore. Right? So it's all subject to change. Opinions are subject to change. Judgments are subject to change. All you need to have as a child to realize, oh, taste buds are subject to change. So it's just an interesting perspective or an interesting point of view. So if someone says, well, your bedside manner wasn't very good, it's just an interesting perspective. Maybe they weren't feeling well that day, right? Maybe they were suffering greatly. And on a different day, they wouldn't have that perspective, right? So we can remind ourselves everything that we think, all the opinions we have, all the needs we think we have, like, oh, I need to get out of here, or I need this person to be nicer, or I need, right? These are all simply an interesting point of view or an interesting perspective. And so we're going to do a little exercise, and it's powerful. And if you play with this, the more freeing it is. Okay? And you can play with it while you're driving. So every thought you think, every sensation you have for the next 4 minutes, we're going to recognize each of them as interesting point of view, interesting thought, interesting perspective, or interesting sensation. It doesn't really matter what phrase you use. So you could say, oh, interesting thought. I have to get the laundry out of the dryer. Interesting thought. Oh, I'm really scared about what's happening tomorrow. Interesting thought. The state of the world is terrible right now. Interesting thought. Or you could say interesting point of view. Any sensation you have in your body over the next 4 minutes, interesting sensation. Okay. You're not making it bad. You're not making it good. You're not making it right. You're not making it wrong. You're just observing and calling it interesting. And as you do this, you do it all in your head. You never say this to someone else. They're going to consider it a judgment if you do. If you say interesting point of view, people consider that a judgment, which it is. All right. So just to yourself, each thought, each feeling, each emotion is interesting. So many of the thoughts in our head are made up. They're taking us out of this present moment, which is cool that it's called the present because it's a gift. Yet we're constantly being pulled out. So I actually want to add this last tool, and it's really about everything that I've taken on, right? Everything that I've taken on. It's like taking it off, like taking off a dress or a shirt and just offering it back to the universe. Yeah. Like, it's not mine to carry. It's life's to carry, or God's to carry, if you like that. It's not mine to carry. If I carry these other people's problems for them, it just weighs me down. So I'm giving it back to life. I have a meditative exercise for you, one of my very favorites, on a special website I've made for you. So the link is below, and I hope you enjoy that. It's a wonderful way to kind of wash off the day. A wonderful way to wash off the day. So I hope these have been useful for you, and please feel free to be in touch. I have a weekly radio show. It's called Sexy Mom Abundant Life. It can be found most easily on my website, meetkathyWilliams.com/radio. It's filled with tips for abundant living, and also it's on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, all the places podcasts are. And you can always find me at meetkathyWilliams.com. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.